Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
I'm very thankful that I get to go to all these 49ers games with my job and the Rush road trips and all those things. Come party with us if you haven't yet. But one of my favorite things to do whenever I walk into a stadium, whether home or away or a training camp practice, whatever, like wherever 49ers fans are, is to just take like a poll. It's not scientific. I don't keep count. Who is the most worn jersey amongst 49ers fans? Now, in recent years, that's changed to number 23, Christian McCaffrey, for sure. But we've been doing this show for 8.5 years. And I think the most common answer has always been number 85, George Kittle. Like, he is the guy, even way back in 2018, 2019, before the great Super Bowl run, which, didn't finish, but whatever. It's number 85. He has always been just the cultural trendsetter, fan favorite. Dude's made for television, right? And I mean, I'm sure whenever the NFL is done, he's going to be on WWE doing something. I mean, he's just too entertaining, too positive, too whatever. He's just incredible. By far one of my favorite players. And, if this whole... He's who I want to get a Super Bowl the most out of everybody. Yeah, I know Trent Williams, and I love Trent, but he hasn't always been a Niners guy. And CMC, it took him a while to get here. Fred Warner would probably be number 2. But number 1 for me, George Kittle. I just love him. And his wife's incredible, and his father, and his mom. Like, everything about this dude is just electric. And funny, positive, all those things. Now, shout out to my man Josh, executive producer of today's show. He comes in number 6 on our roster countdown for 2024. Now, last year was 7. 2022 was number 5. So 5, 6, 7 the last 3 years. Just a stud. And it's at a position, tight end, that is seen as a secondary value position. It really, really is. Whether it's the draft or salary cap or free agency or whatever. Tight end it's a position, but it's not a premium spot at all. But Kittle has turned it into that. 6'4", 250 pounds, big old dude, 33 1/8 inch arms. He's 30 years old, getting long in the tooth. Ran a 4.52 40. Quick. Going into his 8th season. He's played for a while now. Now listen to Kyle Shanahan talk about kind of the evolution of George Kittle's personality since he joined the 49ers.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's when he first got here, it was funny because we turned on our film and show cut-ups and stuff, and he had absolutely no swag. His hair didn't show out his helmet, the way he wore his socks, his wristbands, his gloves. 85 just didn't look quite the same, and then you watch him the next year when he's breaking records, and he wears his socks much cooler, his gloves, everything. He's definitely a different swagger. He was a little more quiet at first. He's always been George, but he was a lot more quiet back then, and that broke out a lot the second year. But he's been great. He's always upbeat. He's always the same. Probably the most positive guy we have on our team. I get on him for that sometimes. It's not everything is perfect, but that's how he lives his life, and that's why everyone likes having him around.
Sometimes everything is perfect, Kyle. It's just the way it is. Now, went to Norman High School down in Norman, Oklahoma, right outside of OU territory. The Tigers. Was a 2-star recruit. Went to Iowa, where his dad played at Iowa as well. His father, Bruce, he was on the, I think the 1982 Rose Bowl team that Iowa went to. He was a co-captain. I mean, it just permeates everything that is in the being of George Kittle. It's just what it is. Kittle earned 2 varsity letters. He played tight end, wide receiver, linebacker, and defensive back. He was fast, obviously. Team reached the playoffs senior year. He was a team captain, dean's list, all those different things. He was awesome. Goes to Iowa, was a blocking tight end mostly, but academic all Big Ten. 2013, 2014, 2015, incredible. He's just a stud, and he gets drafted. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but in 2019 with the Niners, he was the recipient of the 49ers Lynn Eshmont Award. That's somebody that exemplifies the inspirational, courageous play of Lynn Eshmont, who was the original member of the original 49ers team, 1946, just so you know. That will be a trivia question at most of our events. When did the 49ers start? 1946. Married Claire Kittle, who is becoming a celebrity in her own right. I've had the pleasure of meeting her a few times, and her family, just awesome people, just great people that want to enjoy the experience and have fun and be around the community, and just great, great, great people. Now, let's look at his career, okay? Because you step back, and I do this all the time in the offseason whenever we rank like the best number 20 of all time 49ers. And I go through their biography, right? And I look at, okay, you always start with the All-Pros, Pro Bowls, how many games played, longevity, records, blah, 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 right? This dude's got it. Two-team first All-Pro 2019-2023. Two-time second-team All-Pro 2018-2022. And five-time Pro Bowler 18, 19, 21, 22, 23. The only time he didn't get it was 2020 whenever he had that injury. So you're talking about somebody that has been the best, first or second best in the NFL at his position since he showed up. Period. That's just all there is to it. He's that damn good. Now, Pro Football Reference does a Hall of Fame rating, and this is the conversation that George Kittle is at. He has a 37.6 rating, all right? What does that mean? Well, he's just ahead of he's the leader of all-time, score for 49ers. He's ahead of Brent Jones. Brent Jones has a 36.8. Kittle's at 37.6. Vernon Davis, 32.1. Kittle, 37.6. So he's past those guys. He's already the greatest tight end in 49ers history. I'm sure some old hats would disagree, but this is Pro Football Reference. They use analytics, whatever. He's behind guys like Jay Novacek, 37.9. Novacek gets a big bounce because he had those 3 Super Bowl wins. Greg Olsen, 43.9, played in a long time. The lowest tight end that made the Hall of Fame was Charlie Sanders with a 61.5. Kittle's at a 37.6. If Kittle could go out there and put up 1 or 2 more All-Pro seasons and get a ring, like that's key. A Super Bowl champion is so key to making the Hall of Fame. It's very, very important. So if he could get, 2 more All-Pros, 1 Super Bowl, I think he's in. The personality is going to bump him up there in the sports writer's world. That's just the way it is. Hey, he's the heart and soul of the football team. You can't explain the tight end position for the past 10 years in the NFL without bringing up George Kittle's name. And I think that's paramount whenever you're talking Hall of Fame. But I think he's not there yet, but the trajectory says if he continues on this mark, I think he'll be there. Now, he's close to that 10-year mark. He's 2 years shy of being an all-decade 49ers player. The problem is next year is his last year. So he'll be that's the issue. So he signed for 2024. He signed for 2025. He'd have to play 1 more year after that. His contract ends there. He'll be 32 years old. Injuries are there, obviously, with how he plays. He's got a huge void year contract, dead money. I don't know how he gets to that all-decade mark, but gosh, I hope he does. So important to me. Career earnings, $39.9 million. Love it. And was injured last year. Turns out, just got his core muscle surgery done in the offseason, dropped weight, added it all back on. But, we didn't know anything really about this. So they asked Kittle, man, when did you get injured?
Quite a while. I'd say kind of week 9, 10, we took some MRIs of it and some stuff didn't show up. So we weren't really entirely sure what we were dealing with until I got the surgery. So that was a tough one. So we tried to, figure it out, but just things weren't popping up on the scans. And so just something that we were playing through probably for 10 weeks.
That's the NFL, 100% injury rate. But whenever you play as much contact with these defensive ends every single play like Kittle does, it's going to hurt. Plus, you got to outrun safeties and corners and linebackers out there in the passing game. It's just, he's such a hybrid at what he does. Had the only tight end in the NFL to have over 1,000 receiving yards last year. And, by the way, he's one of the best pass blockers, run blockers in the NFL regardless of position. Played 646 inline snaps last year. Dude's down there with the beasts. It's just what it is. Postseason wasn't the best. 8 receptions on 12 targets. That's not great on those 3 games. Super Bowl, got injured the shoulder, had to go in, get the ejection, went back out there and played, but it was hard. Whenever, Debo had his worst game, I don't think Kittle had his worst game, but not effective in the passing game. It was just not ideal. So excited to see what Kittle brings this year. Now you go back to the draft, and this is interesting because he was the first draft of 49ers players back in 2017. They took him the 5th round. This was the start of the 5th round gyms, right? He went 146 overall, same round and draft as Trent Taylor and Eric Saubert, all on the team now. We'll see how long that lasts, with cut downs and everything. Now, the only players of that entire draft, and yeah, this was the Solomon Thomas draft. Yeah, we missed there. Reuben Foster draft. We missed there. I get it. The only players in the entire 2017 draft with 2 or more All-Pros, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, Budda Baker, George Kittle. There's only 6. And 5 of those 6 were drafted in the 1st or 2nd round. Kittle's the only one. He was drafted in the 5th round. He is an anomaly. Absolute anomaly for where he was drafted, where he was, what he's done. Just showed up. It has just been incredible. Over 6,000 receiving yards, 37 touchdowns in his career. Incredible. Last year, the only tight end to go over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, had 65 receptions, 42 of which went for first downs. He's just great. The missed games, that's a lot. And that's always going to be on the mind with George Kittle is, man, he plays so violent and gets tackled so often. Injuries are going to come. It's just what it is. 2017 missed 1 game. 2019, 2 games. 2020, 8 games. 2021, 6 games. 2022, 2 games. 2023, he played through all of them, but then had the offseason surgery. So it's kind of it's just the way that it goes. What's in line this year? Why not more of the same? There's no reason why it should change. It's not like he looks like he's losing a step out there. A lot of breakaway plays that continue to happen. So, you're putting that, you just look at what he did last year, 65 receptions, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. I'd say, man, probably 58 receptions, 900 yards, 5 touchdowns. That would be the over-under. And I could see the touchdowns jumping up, to be honest with you. He's awesome, man. I absolutely love George Kittle. Comes in number 6 on our list, and I just really hope there's a way we can get him for year 10. It's important. If you've been in the Niners locker room, there's the all-decade Niners, just a shrine of people that just embody what it means, the longevity of being a 49er. George Kittle is him. I hope that he gets there. I hope he gets that ring. Fan favorite. George, you're the best. And for us, we'll just keep counting them down.